Even before Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal wraps up his 4-day official visit to India, various speculations have already been made in terms of the success and the failure of the visit. The government has hailed the 7 bilateral agreements signed yesterday as big achievements, while the experts have claimed that the visit has been far from what was dubbed earlier, since there has been conspicuous silence on the contentious issues including EPG report, border disputes and air route permits, among others. Good evening, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan. These are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal offers a special worship at Ujjain's Mahakaleshwar temple. Premier Dahal floats Bangladesh model to address border issues. Grilling of 18 alleged convicts in the fake Bhutanese refugee case ends. Mastermind Kesab Dulal interrogated for the second time. A bench under Justice Neopani to decide the case. The long-term energy trade agreement with India ensures Nepal's future energy market. Nepal bargains Pancheshwar DPR to bury the lower Sarada water dispute. And the sporting sector continues to get ignored despite an encouraging display from players. Players complain of lack of budget even for announced tournaments. On the third day of his ongoing state visit to India, Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal performed a special worship at the Mahakaleshwar temple in Ujjain of Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister Dahal performed puja at the Mahakaleshwar temple and offered 108 kilograms of Rudraksha he had taken from Nepal. Prime Minister Dahal had also reached Indore, a commercial city of Madhya Pradesh. He was welcomed in Indore by Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan. Premier Dahal inspected waste management plant of Indore. He was welcomed with cultural programs in both the cities. Prime Minister Dahal is scheduled to wrap up the visit tomorrow and return home tomorrow evening via New Delhi. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal has said that the Kalapani border dispute can be resolved in what is said the Bangladesh model. According to Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal, the Kalapani issue could be resolved by managing Nepal's need of a route to Bangladesh. Speaking with Nepali journalists on the third day of his India visit in New Delhi this morning, Prime Minister Dahal hinted towards possible exchange of the Nepali territory with a route to Bangladesh, saying that creative discussions had begun after his meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Dahal said that positive and constructive brainstormings had begun regarding border issues from yesterday. Speaking with Nepali journalists in New Delhi this morning, Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal floated the Bangladesh model as an alternative to address the Kalapani border dispute. India and Bangladesh share a 4,096-kilometer long border. The two nations had signed a bilateral territory border treaty on the 6th of June 2015 to find solutions to their historic disputes. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal might have hinted towards the exchange of land by India and Bangladesh when he mentioned the Bangladesh model. Disputes had existed between India and Bangladesh regarding West Bengal's Daikhata Muhari River of Tripura and Lalitilia region of Assam. A treaty was signed to resolve the disputes in 2015 during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bangladesh visit. Based on the treaty, 111 Bangladeshi enclaves of 17,160 acres inside the Indian territory were handed over to Bangladesh, while 51 enclaves of 7,110 acres inside Bangladesh were integrated into Indian territory. A total of 17,051 Bangladeshi nationals and 34,000 Indian nationals resided in the two regions. Indians resided in the Indian enclaves inside Bangladeshi territory, while Bangladeshi nationals lived in the Bangladeshi enclaves inside India. Following the treaty, those residents were given the right to choose the country they wanted to be in the citizen of. The treaty had also resolved the problems of feeling statelessness while residing in another country. Back then, Modi had termed the agreement equivalent to the tearing down of the Berlin Wall, while West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee had termed the exchange of territory as historic. Then Bangladesh Prime Minister had also expressed happiness on finding a solution for the border dispute. Back in 2011, then Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had signed the protocol for addressing the border issues. Despite the protocol being prepared in agreement with the Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and West Bengal governments, it was yet to be implemented because of political situations. The protocol was finally implemented 4 years later and the border dispute was resolved with the exchange of territories. And moving to other news, recording of statements from those arrested for the alleged involvement in the fake Bhutanese refugee scam has concluded. Recording of statements from 18 individuals arrested for the alleged involvement in the fake Bhutanese refugee scam, including former Deputy Prime Minister Top Bahadur Ramaji and former Minister for Home Affairs Balkrishna Khand, has concluded at the Kathmandu District Court. Statements were recorded from Khand, leader of Bhutanese refugees Teknath Rizal and Haribhakta Maharjan today. Maharjan had presented himself at the court yesterday. The court has also recorded additional statements from Kesab Dulal, considered the mastermind of the fake Bhutanese refugee scam. Recording of statements from former Home Minister Khand concluded earlier this evening. Following the conclusion of recording of statements in the bench of Judge Prem Prasad Neupane, further court procedures will be taken forward. The Office of the Government Attorney, Kathmandu, had registered cases of treason, organized crime, fraud and forgery against 30 individuals on the 24th of May. While those alleged have denied their involvement, the Office of the Government Attorney has claimed that required evidences have been collected through the bank transactions of those accused. A total of 12 individuals, including Pratik Thapa, son of former Minister for Home Affairs Ram Bahadur Thapa, and Neeraj Rai, son of Indrajit Rai, are still at large. Speculations have intensified regarding the much publicized long-term power trade agreement reached with India during Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal's ongoing visit of the southern neighbors. Despite the talk of reaching an agreement on conducting a detailed project report of the much-touted Pancheshwar project within 3 months, it has yet to be made public. While Nepal has been successful in reaching a 25-year power trade agreement with India, it has given up on its stand on the Pancheshwar project. As production of electricity from most hydel projects in Nepal depend on the water level of rivers, there are concerns about addressing native demands during winter and exports during monsoon. This led Nepal to seek a secure, permanent power market in India by reaching a long-term power trade deal. The deal seems to have materialized as the preliminary agreement was signed by Energy Secretary Dinesh Ghimire for Nepal and India's Energy Secretary Alok Kumar. As some procedures remain to ensure the legitimacy of the deal, the agreement has not been made public yet. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi already spoke about the agreement during the joint press meet yesterday. Under the agreement reached for 25 years, India is to import 10,000 megawatt electricity from Nepal in a period of 10 years. To export such quantity of electricity, additional 25,000 megawatt capacity projects must be constructed in Nepal. India will import the 10,000 megawatt electricity not just from the projects built with its investment, but also from hydel projects built with Nepali investment. Electricity will not be exported from the projects built with Chinese investment until the Indian power trade directives are amended. Meanwhile, Nepal had also prepared a breakthrough plan for the Pancheshwar hydroelectricity project. Under the proposal, Nepal has released the waters from Lower Sarda to India. Nepal is understood to have agreed in concluding the DPR of Pancheshwar within 3 months by letting go its claim in Sarda. India also has appeared positive for Nepal's power export to Bangladesh. For this, a draft of the agreement between the Nepal Electricity Authority, India's Power Trade Commission and the Power Development Board of Bangladesh has been prepared. Considering these agreements with India, Prime Minister Dahal has claimed a breakthrough in Nepal's power trade sector. However, analysts feel that Nepal will have to make additional efforts for required legal procedures and ensure their effective implementation. And now time for our segment, Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And let's take a look at a response to yesterday's question. And we had asked you, why has the government policy of distributing free medicine not been effective? 48% of you voted for option A, unscientific distribution. 46% voted for option B, government indifference. And 6% voted for option C, inadequate budget. And here is our today's question. Why have irregularities intensified in the cooperative sector? Your options are option A, absence of monitoring, option B, managerial lapses, and option C, lack of awareness. The voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B, or C and send it to 34001 to share opinion with us. And in our public voice segment, we have asked about the necessity of skill-oriented education for school-level children. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public Voice.
बच्चाहरुको भविष्य राम्रो हुन्छ
भविष्यमा के गर्न सकिन्छ
तालिम हुन्छ भने अब पढ्ने विद्यार्थीहरुले त्यो काम तत्कालै चाहिँ यहाँनिर चाहिँ निरूपण गर्न सक्छन्
आत्मनिर्भर बनाउनको निम्ति अत्यन्तै उपयोगी छ
एउटा वायरिङ हुन्छ एउटा प्लम्बिङ हुन्छ हैन साथमा अरु सानातिना कुराहरु पनि अब ज्ञान लिनु आवश्यकता छ
बच्चाहरुलाई युवा अवस्थामा स्वरोजगार स्थापना गर्ने खालको एउटा वातावरण सिर्जना गर्छ
आफ्नो जीवनलाई सुखमय बनाउनका लागि सिपमूलक शिक्षा हुनु पर्यो
पढाइ साथसाथै उनीहरुलाई आफ्नो व्यक्तिगत क्षमताको विकास हुनुपर्छ
सिपमूलक शिक्षा दिएपछि त्यो पढाइ पनि दिगो हुने
जीविकोपार्जनमा पनि सहज हुने भएको हुनाले यो एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण लाग्छ
सानैबाट सिपमूलक र व्यावहारिक ज्ञान दिलाउन सकियो भने रोजगारीका अवसरहरू सिर्जना गर्न सकिन्छ
Sports News.
The government gets excited when the Nepali sports sector achieves international success. However, similar enthusiasm is not reflected while allocating funds for the sports sector in the budget. The National Sports Council itself is unaware about the funds allocated for the sports sector in the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. While announcing the budget on the 29th of May for the upcoming fiscal year, Finance Minister Prakash Saran Mahath allocated just over 2,875 million rupees for the Ministry of Youth and Sports. However, he did not clarify the exact amount allocated for the sports sector alone. The budget, which has prioritized the cricket stadiums, mostly has given continuity to previous programs. The National Sports Council has said that the allocated budget is inadequate for development of infrastructure of sports, including volleyball and boxing, that have the potential to earn medals for Nepal at international tournaments. Nepal women take on Malaysia in the fourth match of the 5-match T20 series tomorrow. The match at UKS Stadium in Malaysia is scheduled for 8:45 a.m. kickoff Nepal time. Nepal lead the series 2-1, registering back-to-back victories after conceding the first match of the series. Nepal lost the first match by 5 wickets but proceeded on to win the next 2 matches with relative ease to lead the series 2-1. And those were our latest headlines. Up next is News in Nepali. Good night.